The finale centers on a victory that doesn't feel entirely like a victory. By the end of The Evil Lawyer episode 8, Meg walks out of court a free man, General Anan is dead, and the conspiracy surrounding Techin's murder appears to be unraveling. But the finale makes one thing painfully clear. The people everyone thought were the villains were never at the top of the pyramid. They were only pieces on a much larger board. The biggest question heading into the finale was whether Meg would be found guilty of Techin's murder. On the surface, the verdict seems like a triumph. After months of manipulation, corrupt judges, missing evidence, and political interference, the court rules that there is too much reasonable doubt to convict him. The prosecution's case falls apart because key pieces of evidence simply don't fit together. The gun, the witness testimony, the blood evidence, and the ignored police reports create enough uncertainty that the judge has no choice but to acquit. But the show deliberately complicates this victory. Throughout the trial, Meg admits something shocking. He reveals that he helped Techin bring Neu to the golf course and that he knew Techin intended to silence her. While he insists he didn't kill Techin, he also admits he participated in something morally unforgivable. That creates the episode's central irony. Meg spends the entire series fighting to prove he isn't a murderer, only to gain his freedom after publicly confessing to being involved in an attempted murder. Legally he wins, morally the situation is far more complicated. That's why Meg doesn't celebrate the way everyone else does after the verdict. He understands that freedom came at a price. The line between truth and guilt has become blurred, and even he no longer knows whether justice was truly served. One of the most important themes of the finale is the search for Neu. Even after the verdict, nobody knows where she is. Seiya refuses to stop looking for his sister, and Jitri admits she understands his obsession because she spent years searching for her own father. Their conversation highlights one of the show's darkest ideas. Powerful systems don't just kill people, sometimes they erase them. Neu becomes a symbol of everyone who disappears inside corrupt institutions. The fact that the season ends without finding her isn't a loose thread, it's intentional. The show wants viewers to feel the same frustration the characters feel. Justice remains incomplete because the person at the center of everything is still missing. As long as Neu's fate remains unknown, the story itself remains unfinished. One of the finale's most satisfying developments is Achara's decision to stand beside her daughter. Earlier in the season, Aang and Achara seemed trapped on opposite sides of political war. Aang wanted radical transparency, while Achara believed change had to come from inside the system. The press conference changes everything. Achara finally realizes that protecting the party is meaningless if the party is protecting criminals. By publicly supporting Aang and threatening to resign unless the truth is exposed, she chooses principle over power. It's also the culmination of Aang's character arc. For years, Aang lived under the shadow of powerful people. By the finale, she forces even her mother to confront uncomfortable truths. Rather than becoming another politician who compromises her values, Aang inspires those around her to do better. Whether that will be enough to change Thailand's political system remains uncertain, but the moment proves that her voice matters. The most shocking moment of the episode arrives after Meg's acquittal. For most of the series, General Anan has seemed untouchable. He manipulates politicians, he controls police investigations, he influences judges, he eliminates witnesses, and he survives scandal after scandal. Naturally, we expect the final battle to revolve around exposing him. Instead, Anan is casually executed. The scene completely changes the scale of the story. The man who orders the hit doesn't argue with Anan or threaten him. He simply decides Anan has become inconvenient. Within seconds, one of the most feared figures in the series is dead. The message is chilling. Anan wasn't the king. He wasn't even the final boss. He was merely a middle manager working for people with far more money, influence, and reach. His death demonstrates how disposable everyone becomes inside systems built on corruption. The same machinery Anan used against countless victims is used against him. For all his power, he was never truly in control. The finale saves its biggest revelation for the final minutes. After Anan's execution, the mysterious man finally introduces himself as Kosol. At first, he appears to be just another wealthy investor connected to the criminal network. Then he reveals the truth. He is the man who ordered the murder of Meg's mother. Suddenly, everything changes. Up until now, Meg's story has largely focused on proving his innocence and exposing corruption. But this revelation transforms the narrative into something much more personal. The tragedy that shaped Meg's entire life wasn't random, it was orchestrated, and the person responsible has been operating behind the scenes all along. Even more disturbing is how calmly Kosol delivers the information. He isn't afraid, he isn't hiding. He doesn't even seem concerned that Meg now knows the truth. That's because Kosol understands something everyone else is only beginning to realize. His power extends far beyond politics, law enforcement, or the courts. Another shocking twist is Kosol's statement that Jitri is his lawyer. The reveal raises immediate questions. Does Jitri already knows who Kosol really is? Has she been working for him all along? Or is she trapped in the same web of manipulation as everyone else? The finale intentionally leaves those answers unresolved. What matters is the effect the revelation has on Meg. Throughout the series, Jitri has been one of the few people he genuinely trusts. By connecting her to Kosol, the show introduces doubt into one of its strongest relationships. Whether Jitri is a victim, an unwilling participant, or something else entirely will likely become one of the central mysteries moving forward. The ending of The Evil Lawyer isn't about defeating corruption. It's about discovering how deep corruption truly goes. The first half of the story focuses on General Anan, the cover-up of Nian's death, the trafficking operations, and the conspiracy surrounding Tichin. By the finale, many of those battles appear won, a corrupt judge confesses, political scandals are exposed, Meg is acquitted, Anan is dead. But every victory reveals a larger enemy behind it. The final scenes expose a brutal truth. Removing one corrupt official doesn't destroy the system. Another person simply takes their place. Anan spent the entire season acting like the most powerful man in the room. Kosol proves he wasn't. And if Kosol is responsible for Meg's mother's murder, there is no reason to believe his crimes stop there. The finale therefore ends on a devastating realization. Meg thought he was reaching the finish line. In reality, he was only reaching the beginning. The battle against Anan is over. The war against Kosol has just begun.